Today, we have a little insight into new manufactured homes. Let's get into it. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. I have with me today Daniel Strickler, and he is going to give us some insight into new manufactured homes, what all that entails, how it works, and what you might need to know.
Excited to help everybody out there. Jill, what kind of questions can I answer today?
Well, first question that I hear a lot is we've got mobile homes, we've got manufactured homes, we've got modular homes. What exactly is the difference?
And that's actually a fantastic question. So mobile homes and or trailers are generally just a single wide and or meaning that they'll be anywhere from, I think the biggest ones I've seen have been 16 foot wide by 80 foot long. Now, a manufactured home could also be known as a double wide, which is basically two mobile homes or true trailers that have been placed side by side. They both come onto the property with wheels. Though some people will actually take the wheels off, which you have to do in the state of Arizona if you'd like to affix them, which I'm sure you've got a question to ask me about that in just a little bit. A modular home is going to be built in sections at a factory, and they'll be set with a crane. And then you could actually have a basement with a modular home. So they're built a little bit differently. Between the three different homes, they're all built a little bit differently, depending on material types and things like that. I had some experience years ago actually setting modular homes, and the ones that I was setting would come anywhere from 4 to 8 different sections. They'd set them so you'd have 2 sections that would have outside walls, and then your roof comes in separate section, much like how stick-built homes are built.
Gotcha. Okay, no, that's really helpful. You mentioned having something affixed and it being important in the state of Arizona. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Absolutely. So a fixture in the state of Arizona turns manufactured homes, which are considered personal property, into real property. So in order to do that, the tongues or the towing apparatus for the manufactured homes has to be removed, and then they have to drop the axles off of it. They have to place tie downs, and what a tie down is it's a metal strap that connects the home to the ground in the case that there was high winds or some type of other natural phenomenon that happened to keep the home actually anchored. It would also have to be placed onto block piers and some sort of foundation or covering to make sure that nothing was exposed underneath of the house. And in that case, it turns it into real property because it's actually attached to the land.
Gotcha. Okay. And now, correct me if I'm wrong, that's where the engineering certification comes from?
An engineering certification is something that a lender is going to check out to make sure that all of those things have been done for them to lend on the property. Otherwise, you've got a manufactured home or a mobile home sitting on the land to where that home would still be considered personal property, which means you'd get 2 separate tax bills.
Oh, yeah, nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
Okay. That clears up a lot of questions that buyers have for us, I think. So now, a question, if you're looking and you find this piece of land that you absolutely love, you can put a home on it?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. There's right now there's about 7 different lenders out there that will actually do packages if you don't already own the land. So they'll come in and they'll say, hey, you want to buy this land and you want to buy this manufactured home from us? Great. We'll help you to finance it all. So there's a few different companies out there. Would still recommend that if you're going to do something like that, it's probably a better idea to find the land first and make sure that it has utilities on it, because that could be a large cost on the backside.
Hey everyone, we want to interrupt this episode to let you know that we are a Keller Williams Southern Arizona franchise.
We are also realtors practicing equal housing. Now let's get you back to the podcast.
So having utilities on it and a large cost, like, what do you mean by that?
Well, for instance, if you bought a piece of land that was maybe further out in the county or rural settings, they potentially could not have water run to at least the property line. You could have electricity that you have to pull in from a greater distance. Of course, if you're looking in areas like that, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to put a septic system on there. And realistically, to put a septic system on there, to do your wells, I mean, you could be looking anywhere from $30,000 on up, depending on what the perk test reveals. And a perk test is when someone comes out and says, hey, this is what type of septic system that the land can support. And then if you don't have water nearby, I mean, you could give $30,000 for drilling a well. I mean, so there's some unknowns on the backside there.
Okay, I was going to say, so I'm guessing how far down you have to drill the well, what kind of pump's going to be required, all of that's going to cost.
Absolutely.
And if those utilities like electric aren't to at least the property line, I'm guessing you're going to get charged to bring all that in?
Oh yes, I mean, as you all have seen, it's a thick wire that carries electricity, and with the rising costs of different precious metals and things like that, it's definitely costing a little bit more to have things like that done. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it sounds like if that's a route you want to go, you're going to be needing to work with somebody who has some experience in that and helping you figure out the land plus the home plus the utilities, how all that's going to work together.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. It would be an involved process, and I'm glad that you mentioned something about that, because right now I was talking to a friend of mine that actually works in the manufactured industry, and she was telling me that the interest rates could start for a package deal at 10.5%. And these lenders, in which, again, there's outside of your local banks and someone that you normally deal with, there's only about 7 companies nationwide that will actually lend on something like this. And then on top of wanting 10.5% interest, they'd also like to see 5% down. So that could be a big thing as well. Now, the turn side, and I see you itching with that question.
I was going to say, I'm coming with another question.
The turn side to that is, once you get everything set up, you can always refinance.
Okay.
And go to a different lender, because you will have the property affixed at that point. And it can ease things up. So, I mean, a little bit of a initial cost, maybe a little bit more. But on the backside, I mean, you've got a brand new home on the land of your dreams that you can, depending on what the codes, clauses, and restrictions, which you folks may know those better as CC&Rs, depending on what that says for the land, I mean, you can pretty much do whatever you want.
Okay, so bringing up the CC&Rs, then that is something else we're going to need to pay attention to if this is a route we want to go, making sure that the type of home we want to put on it is allowed, that we're not breaking any restrictions about setbacks, things like that, how far from the property line. So then in my experience, my buyers who come in and they're like, I want a piece of land, I want a house. There's a little more to it than that.
Oh, absolutely. There's a whole lot more to it. And, having somebody experienced on your side that knows to check those CC&Rs, and even on top of that, zoning codes, you may find that there's a piece of land that you absolutely love, and then the zoning code wouldn't allow the manufactured home, and it would say, no, only a stick-built home can be built here. So, yes, you should definitely talk with your real estate professional and get some more insight on the back end before moving forward with something like that.
Okay, so this definitely sounds like it is a potentially great option for somebody who wants some land without the cost of a traditional single-family home on it, but it is going to take a little extra patience getting through all the steps, and honestly, it sounds like a little extra up front until you can at least get to that point of refinancing.
Absolutely. And the great side to that, I mean, even though you're paying a little bit more for the interest rate up front, buying the land itself and buying a manufactured home a lot of times can be so much less expensive than buying a traditional stick-built home.
I do think it's definitely a great option for some people, so long as they have a pretty solid understanding of the process involved, the time it's going to take, and they're willing to put in that time and effort to make it happen.
Absolutely. It would almost be like in a few years ago how everything was backed up and people were waiting 6 months to a year to get into it. That's kind of along the same lines here. By the time you get your well drilled, your power ran, your septic installed, have the manufactured home delivered to the property, I mean, it's a bit of an involved process. I would say, just as a rough guesstimate here, start to finish, you're probably looking at a 6-month process.
Okay. All right. Well, if you all are joining us today and this is something that you are interested in, I would definitely recommend reaching out to Daniel. You can find Daniel's information down in the description below. He has quite a bit of experience with this process and can help guide you every step of the way.
Thank you for listening and watching the Nitty Gritty of Real Estate podcast here with the Tom J. Krieger team of Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. If you are interested in buying a home, selling a home, or even investing in real estate, we have 5,000 agents across the country that we can connect you to. If you need any free resources, feel free to check out our website at www.thetjkteam.com. We hope you have a great day.